Big tonight, United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio ended his first official visit to several CARICOM countries with a visit to Suriname on Thursday, on the last stop of a two-day visit that also took him to Jamaica and Guyana, where he held bilateral talks also with the heads of government from Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, and Haiti. Rubio outlined Washington's new foreign policy agenda while reiterating the North American country's desire for close and improved relations with the region.
It has largely ignored opportunities when we have found close partners. We have often, in our foreign policy, neglected those opportunities, and we spent a lot of time on problems instead and on countries and leaders that give us a hard time. We're going to change that. We want to change that. President Trump wants to change that. President Trump wants to make it clear that if you are a friend, an ally, a partner of the United States, there are benefits for your country and for your people in doing so, and we want to enter it in terms of partnership. That's the way we view it.
He said stability, security, and prosperity are necessary in the region.
And we just want to be helpful. We believe it is in our national interest to have a Caribbean region that is safe and stable and prosperous.
President Chandrika Prasad Santokhi said that Suriname has a long-standing and strategic partnership with the United States, and that during the meeting they discussed opportunities for strengthening and expanding bilateral relations and cooperation and furtherance of partnership regionally. He said the two countries have agreed to work together to attract American investors to Suriname.
After all, cooperation with America and the American business dates back to the beginning of the 19th century, and we currently have significant investment from the American companies, particularly in the oil and gas industry, but also in the gold sector.
As he did during his visit to Jamaica and Guyana, Rubio defended the Trump administration's decision to revamp the U.S. aid program, saying this is one of the reasons why he wanted to come to the Caribbean.
For too long, our foreign aid has been driven by what we think you need. We tell you, okay, these are the 5 things we're going to do for you. Well, those aren't the 5 things you want. We're changing that. We want to make sure that we're providing the assistance that the countries need. We want to turn this power back over to our embassies under the State Department, so we're providing the assistance you need.
Rubio also highlighted Washington's problem with China's role in the Caribbean.
So what I want is for countries to have an alternative to that. What we want is for countries to have an alternative to that. If you're going to build a road, I want you to have a real road.
President Santokhi was asked by reporters whether he had any comments on cooperation with China in this hemisphere.
Well, I think the position which has been addressed by Secretary of State Rubio is quite clear what the position of United States of America is. Our position as a country is that we are developing our countries with international cooperation with a lot of countries, more than 170 countries we are cooperating. All these cooperations are based on pragmatism, based on the need and the national interests of the countries. So in relation to China, what we are doing as a country is that we do have several areas of development. We are looking for investors, we are inviting investors, and just what the minister has said, not all the countries are showing up, and there are sometimes more countries which are showing up for their interests and their projects. So we need to keep that aspect also into consideration.
Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Motley is urging the United States to avert a Caribbean trade crisis as the North American country moves towards implementing a policy to impose a port fee of $1 million per port call on any Chinese-built vessel calling at U.S. ports. According to Motley, the announced levy on ships made in China will have serious and deleterious consequences for the commerce in the Caribbean and also Florida.
Florida, in a very real sense, is the engine of commerce of the Caribbean region. Caribbean depends on much 7-day supply of food, 7-day supply of vegetables, of critical supplies, of pieces of equipment, spare parts, all kinds of things. And that to have this disrupted purely because of the intervention of a statutory or an executive order that will lead to increased costs of supply will hurt not just us on the receiving end, but will hurt those as well who are making money from the logistics in Florida to be able to make the transition.
Earlier this week, St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves warned that if the policy is implemented, it will be one of the most severe blows to the economies of the Caribbean. Motley said that Caribbean countries depend on regular imports, often operating on a 7-day supply cycle for food, equipment, and critical goods, and that the proposed tariff could raise the cost significantly.
The cost per container, TEU, 20-foot container or equivalent, can go, we believe, anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000 US, and for 40-foot container up to at least $4,000 US. It is also, by the way, assessed on exports, and those who are exporting from our region will now have to face the reality of having to pay more before, or their customers who are buying from them having to pay more purely because of this particular cess and not because of any costs related to production or indeed to being able to source the raw materials for it. I hope that